Hello, hello, everybody. Hi, patrons. How's it going? What's up? What's up? I am a bit eepy today. I am under the weather, shall we say. The sun is spewing a bunch of stuff at us right now. If you go look up the solar weather, I think it's affecting me. I don't know, but I wanted to record some behind the scenes stuff with you. So this is for the goddess of sleep and its counterpart, sleeping with the goddess. This these were not necessarily crazy difficult for me, but I haven't done stuff like this before. It's new. That's I think that was a lot of where the difficulty came in, is because it's a very novel kind of premise or idea that I'm trying to bring to life, and it almost feels like if I don't, it's just gonna flop on its face and be awkward. But I'm pretty proud of I'm pretty proud of the work I did here. So, first, I suppose I should show you the ambiance, because that I believe was fundamental in immersing you in a dreamy, spacey soundscape, which we delve into a lot more um in the sequel. So just by itself, the room ambiance sounds like this, right? I found a video on YouTube of a I mean the title's right here, Singing Ice. I don't know exactly how they captured it, but it's like giant glaciers shifting against each other. I thought it was super cool, so I brought it in here. I slowed it down. I compressed it with the the duckling compressor. Watch this. Oh wait, no, don't edit the FX. Okay, go back. So there's that, but that by itself wasn't quite magical enough for me. So I had the idea in my head of, if we are in this dome flying through space and something hits us, like debris hits whatever ship we are in, what kind of sound do I want that to make? And there's kind of already those impact sounds in the ice, which I think it fits really, really well. But I also wanted it to be like magical and sparkly and glittery. But I wasn't going to go in here and sound design every single one of these impacts. So I came up with a solution. And that solution I'm going to tell you now. You'll hear these sparkles throughout the audio whenever there are these, I'm doing finger quotes or air quotes, but impacts. Um, I put together this Stargate system, which at the time I had just watched the movie Stargate, and I thought it was a pretty cool nod to it. The way that it works is I have this folder of tracks that, if I change to parent send and just play this. So each of these tracks has a drum machine that has a chimes, just a chime recording on it. And those play at higher pitches and speeds and just kind of all over the place. So I made this kind of as just a stardust generator. You know what I mean? A little quiet. Let me turn that up. Hold on. If I remember how to do this, if I hold shift and turn it up, it'll go back to normal when I let go? No. But I can just control Z. Right. So After the stardust is generated, as you can see, the I have this parent send off. The stardust that's being generated is not sent to the master, which you can see over here. It is instead sent to these stargates, which are positioned all the way left, half right, all the way right. Or not quite half, but you get the idea. It was originally just left and right, but that only left like the stardust can only come from 3 places, left, in front, and right. So I wanted to expand that range. I have each of these stardust generators sent into um, each of the stargates. I think it's a pretty messy web. Track wiring. Yeah, it's pretty messy. But it really is just every single one of the Stardust generators is being plugged into every single one of the Stargates separately. And the way that I trigger these Stargates, go back to the, oh, what was this? I have up here the ice signal. Now, you may recall from the Merciful Dragon um, behind the scenes thingy, I learned how to do parameter modulation and used a similar thing for muffling, but this time I wanted to use it for, you know, the ambiance. So I have the ice sounds routed into the ice signal. Make sure that this isn't soloed anymore. The ice signal is also not being sent to the master track. You cannot hear it. But it hears all of the lower frequency sounds. I thought I sent it through a compressor, but I guess this is here for no reason. I don't know. And I sent it through. Did I do anything fancy here? Yes, I did stereo compression. I have this compressor here for the left channel and this one for the right channel. And when I play this, you can see that it's just trying to amplify amplify anything above the general noise and just whooshiness of this sound. And when something does hit, like if I skip forward to this, I think this is a good one. Whoa. It jumps up to here to higher volume. So I'm trying to mathematically sort out when it's loud enough to be considered a quote hit, rather than going in and sound designing every single one myself. This ice signal gets sent into each of the gates, which I remember I did something special for. Hold on, I gotta play this. I gotta remember how I did it. What did I do with the routing here? Why do I have a joiner? Right, I remember. Okay, so I actually have 2 gates on each of these Stargate tracks, because when I had one, the volume of these twinkly star sounds was too static. It was on or off. I wanted levels in case maybe something hit off to the side or under the ship and it's not quite as loud. So each of these gates receives a different version of the ice signal, I believe. Or no, it just processes it differently. and then puts out a quieter a quieter inkling of the stars if it's quiet. I think I can pop these out and show you. Float. So these are the two gates side by side. You can see that one of them has a slightly lower threshold than the other. So they'll trigger at different amounts of ice signal. If there's a loud enough signal, both of them will trigger and it'll just allow the sound through. But if it's just quiet enough to only trigger this one and not this one, it's not quite as loud. I thought I should have changed the volume just in the gates, but I did it in this joiner. So the low band, the track 1 and 2, this one, is slightly quieter than the high band, which is this one. And I did that for each of these gates, respective left and right. Whew. That was... I feel like I was all over the place explaining that thing, but hopefully it made sense. In the end, I think it came out with a... there are some places where the stars don't trigger where I think they should. But, you know, I think it came out pretty nice. Let's see, what next? Of course, once you're being... Well, I shouldn't start in the middle of the roleplay if I'm talking about the voice. You start off with it's very quiet. I have very, very big effects on here. I have a large reverb and delay with multiple taps. And I used a slightly different method of controlling the perceived location of the voice in this one compared to the Merciful Dragon. So I routed the main voice, this recording here. Mute the voice FX. 63. So this is just it by itself, and then I can send it out to the voice drone and the voice FX, which I will explain the voice drone, independently, and can control each of those signals. The main voice normally is not sent to the parent channel. It is routed through the voice drone first, and then you can hear it through that. And from here, I can mess with volume, panning left to right, and high shelf gain to make a really neat, convenient, easy, I guess the word drone, like I'm imagining like a quadcopter drone. It's just carrying a speaker and flying around. You know what I mean? Of course, that's not the only place that I make adjustments. I also do things in the voice effects to like if we are going from very far away from this person to very close to this person in a short amount of time, the effects change a lot. Well, they definitely do in the not safe for work version. This, it's just kind of one big transition, and then it gets sleepier and sleepier. So you have this intro that's spoken out. I blow a kiss. And then this track called Getting Fucked Up triggers alongside the binaural beats, which are down here. But this is literally just a folder with 3 tone generators, oh, fly, that are moving left and right at different rates. And then I have this joiner to squish them all back down into one track. I bring the volume up a little bit and slowly bring the pitch of each of these down. A few deep breaths with me. And you get some Whoa, something's happening to me.
We'll have you knocked out
mm,
in no time.
what else? What else? Right. I guess the binaural beats. I've shown you these before. At the beginning, I just mess with the volume a little bit, but
Just
as the hypnosis goes on, I do
over your
bring the
forehead.
frequencies closer together to slow down your
Allow its
brain.
weight to pull
We
you
start at
this
it's 90 and 72. That's 18 hertz difference, which is kind of starting in the more alert, not quite high focus or concentration, but awareness kind of frequencies, at least from what I've read. And as it goes on, it slows down all the way to 79 to 70. That 2.5 2.5 hertz, which is deep sleep. Deep sleep, deep sleep. I do also bring back a little bit of the getting fucked up when the second kiss comes along. Not as loud as to not wake you up. But just there to remind you that something's happening.
So sleepy.
For the metronome and counting exercise, I use this cool effect that I've really, really wanted to use and I think sounded quite good. The D doubler. Check this out. 5, 6, 7, 8, and in. Without the D doubler. 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and with the D doubler. 3, 4, and out. 2, 3. I think it's pretty cool. I really like the way it sounds and hope to use it in more ASMR stuff. The metronome is simply this medicine bell synth that I found in my folder of weird VSTs. Has a bunch of different sounds in there, but I fine-tuned it to what I wanted. As this metronome is coming in, I also have a really wide reverb that slowly backs off. So it sounds like it's fading in from all around you. I tried to make it as gentle as I could. And of course, the voice fades out, but I make sure to give you time to associate the metronome with your breathing. Before I start speaking again. Through this, I also learned how to do tempo gradients in Reaper. I didn't know how to do that before. Slow it down, slow it down.
It weighs on you heavily.
Now, once the up-close speaking starts, we are trying to get into hypnosis. There's no more spatial awareness. I'm speaking directly to you. So this voice effect starts to muffle into the background, we'll say. Not necessarily disappear, because that would leave us with an uncanny feeling of, oh, we're in a small room all of a sudden. But it does definitely muffle out into the background. Add some ear scritches. Oh, I never used this track. And then I think, aside from the script, that's all of the sound work that I did on this one. But the script definitely was one of the more difficult parts, as I think is going to be the case with hypnosis. Because with regular roleplay ASMR, it's like I'm trying to simulate a conversation in my head. And tweak that conversation to make it so that you, the listener, the other side of the conversation that can't really respond specifically. I try to meet you where you are. But that and trying to slip past your conscious defenses and awareness. To be fair, this one's a pretty gentle kind of hypnosis, but it's not. It took a lot of thought, I think. Um, and I was a little worried about doing something too um too confident, I suppose, and like having it just completely flop. But I think giving myself that confidence and allowing myself to have it is what makes hypnosis work. It is you hearing me take control, and you're like, "Ooh, you can take control for me." So I made sure that while I was reading out this script, I put my full self into it and made sure to do the dedication so that you don't have to while you're listening to it. That is all for this one. Now we move on to the piece de resistance. I really do wish I could post this one publicly because I'm super, super proud of it. And this is an emotion that I've wanted to get out for a very, very long time. Like this scene in my head has been plaguing my dreams in a way. Um or at least the vibe. I was able to copy and paste over the project pretty similarly, except I also used in this um, a couple different microphones. But I guess I'll start from the beginning because we're gonna have a lot to get through. Stardust generator again. I use the same binaural beats at the beginning that fade out so that it feels like you're just waking up from the last one. A little bit of fur Foley on the sides because she's still holding you.
Not my best work. You deserve a better sleep than that.
But it'll certainly do. Well, you'll see here, I tried my best to label and mark out um almost like a storyboard, or I don't know what you would call it, like an action plan. Everything that physically happens in this scenario. And that helped me keep track of a lot of it better. I'm trying to make my projects a little more organized than they've been. Oh my gosh, my nose is stuffy.
Oh, really? No need
So
to
similarly to the Merciful Dragon audio, I played a lot around with distance.
No,
Maybe not quite as
this
much
is
as in that one.
slightly new.
Maybe by volume
I mean,
more. I'm not
nothing
sure.
doesn't-
But I also tried to play around with not just
It
closeness,
is my
but
fate
whether
to eventually
she's
make
facing
every
you
soul
or not.
scattered throughout this cosmos.
Let's see. Let me find an instance where I did that. Rotate. Did I not do the rotation? I did pan. Like right around here. Why did I pan that? I don't remember. Lay down on the left. Well, when we do lay on, or when the goddess lays on the right side of the listener, I do pan the voice effects to the left, because I imagine that if you are laying down there, facing up towards a dome, when she speaks, the echoes that will reach you loudest will be front left. At least that's how I imagined it. That's how I simulated it in my head. So the first little while is pretty simple in that regard, except for the music. But I'll talk about the music in a second run. We have the lay down, we have the lean in close. Bring in some bass into this.
This isn't something you can take back.
Instead of messing around with the voice effects volume as much this time, I tried to change the voice effects volume through the send on the main voice track, which I feel, at least in this scenario, it felt a little more intuitive for me. I'm not sure.
With me on the stage of the vast theater of the cosmos.
I also think I did a little bit extra compression compared to the other one for this voice effects. Recomp to compressor.
With me on the stage of the vast.
This one's probably plugged into the...
In between this.
Wait for it. Oh, that one's not very loud.
You're I can't see you.
I could have sworn
I can't see.
that this compressor was doing a lot more work. Oh, we're skipping forward. Basically, it's just giving a little bit more, quote, impact to the impact surrounding us. And quieting, I think, our voice and other stuff once those happen. This is really hard to go through linearly. Okay, first big microphone change. After you are picked up and set down on her chest. Though technically, I liked the voice line that I recorded with the single mic better, so I kept that one. But I switch over to two pencil mics that are pointed in opposite directions, kind of with the openings right next to each other. And I feel that was able to, that enabled me to make it sound like you were right in front of my mouth and kind of surrounded by the opening. If that makes sense. Trying to make it seem big, you know?
Thank you.
And I changed the width of this track as you got closer or further away. Well, there's the send volume so that when you get closer and she's whispering, it's not echoing as loudly.
Comfortable.
This voice line though, I really wanted to incorporate, like, I felt like this is one of the things that the goddess would have thought to do in this moment. If she has put you on top of her and you're sitting there right there and she's like turned on, I feel like she would like try and squish you with her boobs, right? Right? At least that's what I would do. But I really also wanted to start out the scene with something funny or silly or goofy and kind of relieve some of the tension that I built up to in the intro. So when I acted it for, I think this was like the second take or something, I stuttered. Not necessarily trying not to stutter. You guys know how I am with acting. But I stuttered a lot and I kind of liked it. I think it really worked for meeting the listener at this very close, intimate place that you have to be a little silly to to have, you know?
It's just, you're, I could completely envelop you with my breasts. You're so small. Would that be okay? I apologize for being forward.
Now, here in the script, I thought this was an interesting dichotomy because throughout the rest of the script, the goddess is very, very confident. She's written that way because she's been around for she's seen a few things. She knows a thing or two because she's seen a thing or two. But this is one of the first moments where you realize that she places you on a equal level to her in terms of respect. And I really, really wanted to stress that as soon as possible. I wanted to make this mutual and romantic. So once the written listener consents to such, I have
Thank you. I'll be gentle.
this first round, which I used my 3DO mic for. Got my my tail that I bought at Anthrocon and kind of just squished it against the microphone in time. But I also used a muffler like I did in the Merciful Dragon, albeit slightly differently. This time I placed it over everything instead of just routing it to each individual like category. So when you are being squeezed, I did this fancy little thing. You can set the automation mode to latch, and then once you play, you can
Well, I'd imagined that you'd need some help up.
record automation, which I'm doing with the volume here, but I can undo that. So what I did for this muffle signal throughout is I have my Logitech mouse, which has the mouse wheel that you can unlock, so it's smooth motion. So I went through and I just recorded how muffled I thought the signal would be throughout. I did the same thing with pan because I wanted the if the muffle signal was mono instead of stereo, it would I feel like it would have lacked a lot of depth. I would have gotten away with it, but it would have lacked a lot of depth. So this muffle signal, which is literally just a muted tone that's not sent to the master that I turn up and down. You'll remember in the Merciful Dragon, I used a recording of me squishing the microphone. That did not meet what I wanted it to meet. So I figured just some mathematical tone here would work a little better. The muffle signal is sent into this stereo muffler, which all of the other tracks are sent through. And they control these EQs, which are stereo EQs. So this one is for the left channel, and this one is for the right channel. And what you see... Where's the freaking... Float the window, float the window. Left channel and right channel, side by side.
I'll be gentle.
As this signal moves, this EQ activates and squishes down the high frequencies and gives it a little bit of a bass boost, respective to how far left or right I've panned the signal.
Maybe I should have let you fall asleep there instead. Oh, don't fall asleep now.
I feel it really helped in making a comprehensive muffling that focuses more on the sensation than the cinematic effect, right? Or the cinematic cleanliness. Because I'm trying to immerse you in an experience. I'm trying to make you feel like you're there. And even if it's not completely realistic, I want you to feel like you're being completely surrounded.
I'll be gentle. Oh, don't fall asleep now.
I feel that worked out for me and made it a little bit easier to, control how that signal was going. What next? What next? What next? Once we get forward to the kisses, the width of these microphones gets turned up to 200%. And the send volume gets turned down so that the echoes in the background are not nearly as loud. Makes it sound like she is being quieter, even though the space hasn't changed. I was going to do a little bit of Foley, maybe like lotion on my hands or something to. I'm not sure what I would have done, but I really liked how quiet the kisses were here, especially when the quote magic kicks in again.
Trying. It's hard to tell where you are.
I think that was improvised. So this binaural beat, if you noticed, is different from the last one. The last one, obviously, I was trying to get you to sleep. This one has 4 different tones instead of 2, and not only do I have the I tuned them musically a little bit to make them blend in with the music that I did, right? Tone generator. Let me just open all of these so I can see what frequencies I did them at. So we have this first pair, which is I believe like a musical interval, a little bit lower. Like if we go down to these, yeah, E2 and a D2, a perfect whole step, almost, not quite. And those frequencies together, what is that difference? That's all 9 hertz. So that's getting into the relaxed territory, the relaxation and mindfulness. But up here, we have about a 80 to, I guess this one's like 40 hertz difference. And that is up in the experiencing wavelength. How is it described? It's like core memory formation kind of frequency in a way. At least that's what I took from what I was reading. It's like you are intensely and single-mindedly focused on this. And I feel like that it's a bit aggressive, but I feel the script calls for it. I feel that the premise is intense enough to warrant such a binaural beat. And when that kicks in, it sounds like that. You very quickly forget about it as it goes on. But it is in tune with the music. Almost. Now I don't do anything else with the magic here, the what's the word? Impairment? Intoxication. I was a little tempted to, because like, oh my goodness, kiss after kiss, and it just keeps getting stronger and stronger. That would have been a fun idea to explore. But I didn't want to, I wanted this to be romantic, not like a, oh, hey, come here, I'm gonna drug you up and make you feel good. So we move on from the kisses. Hold on. I think there was a script thing here I wanted to talk about. These markers aren't quite right on, so I get a little lost sometimes.
Thank you. Please. May I?
Oh wait, I'm thinking back here. The good morning kiss.
Magic onto you. I'd like to. Oh, don't fall asleep now. After just waking up. All that I certainly do.
No, I think I wrote that in. There's some improv that I did in here that I wanted to touch on, but I can't quite remember all of it. Anyways, let's move on to getting picked up and licked all over. I think that the narration and the script here does a lot of the heavy lifting. I could have done like whoosh noises to like very low pitched, slow whoosh noises to make it sound like you're being lifted up, but I mostly just did it with the voice effect and making it sound like you're closer to her.
Slowly.
Backs up, then gets closer. Sorry, my bad.
Are you stable enough that I could maybe use one hand to hold you?
Ooh. Okay.
I cannot imagine that would be very safe nor easy for you. Except, promise I won't drop you.
No voice effects here because I want it to be whispered as close as possible. And then we get into the licking. Yes, this was a bit of a challenge.
Slowly.
I think that is what I designed the muffle signal originally for, but then I came back and did like the kisses and the the breast smothering earlier. So I have this very intense muffle signal, and I also have this Foley, which is my 3DO mic and my chamois leather that I am, moving across this microphone in such a way.
Oh, wow. Your body.
What was that? I have no idea what that was. Anyways, oh, why'd this get turned down? That's not supposed to be turned down. Whatever. Did I latch that? I got distracted by something falling down nearby. Alongside that with the licks, though, I also have this additional voice effects track. Because now that you have an open mouth in front of you, like a giant open mouth, there's a second space for sound to reflect around in. So I also had to design that. And that is a very short delay and a very small reverb that I put up the mid frequencies for. And you don't hear it very intensely until the end, but I think it does add some. So like I think I can solo this. That's just added on as a little bit of flavor, and I think it does very, very well. I have pretty much everything sent into it. Room ambiance, as well as the Foley and the voice, of course. And then I just turn up and down the volume when I need this one. Do the same thing with what's this one called again? Voice effects, the sequel, Between Her Legs. I forgot what I named that one. Which was kind of a same kind of deal, short delay, but muffled. It's a much weaker effect, but that in synchronizing that with narrowing the ambiance in the room, turning down the high frequencies a little bit and making the voice sound further away. I think that all orchestrated together to make it sound like you are, you know, under this large kneeling creature. That was my intent, at the very least. I think I can solo this. Yeah, you can barely even hear the voice in this one. Oh, oh, I sure as fucking hell hope that you guys got the little nod. Oh my god, that was such an in the moment kind of a decision. Like while I was voice acting this, um I was imagining myself being there, very very small being approaching to, I don't know, give me head. And I'd, if I were to ask them if they're okay down there, I put a lot of genuine concern into my voice. I think if they were to nod enthusiastically, that would make me laugh. So that's what came to mind while I was acting. Where
Oh,
where did I do that?
wonder of the universe.
Yeah.
Are you alright down there?
And then once she realizes, she's like, "Oh." That I just did like a, I scratched my head a little bit and did a little bit in the chamois 3DO. No, this one wasn't 3DO. This one wasn't. This one was 3DO. Never mind. I did a little nodding motion in that too. Which this is a lot less aggressive than it was in the Merciful Dragon, but I still feel it was necessary for the picture. I think you would be able to hear it in this scenario. And it's honestly just a nice ASMR sound. Um I promised myself that I wouldn't do endosoma again or like unbirthing, but then in the voice acting I did what did I say? What did I say?
I'm trying to hold still. I'm sorry.
What would she have apologized for? I don't think I probably bumping into your lover a little too hard with you. I can't even say that. I can't say it. Oh my god. How did I voice act this? This is so wild.
I'm trying to.
I included the muffle signal in there as well and decided to incorporate the Foley into it. I mean, if you're kissing her on her massive clit and she bucks just the slightest amount, there's like you have to think about size difference here. But anyways, sits up and hold, lays on stomach. Is there anything else? Set on snout. I wasn't sure how to do the transition here. I've luckily a lot of roleplay audio can get away with narration, and that's what most people have to rely on for transitions like this.
I want more than for that.
I think I tried to give you the visualization by making her ask you if that's okay. It not only, you know, gives you a sense of, hey, this person cares about you and wants to make sure that you're okay. It also helps you imagine it. It's kind of a 2-in-1.
It's certainly an interesting position, but if I lay on my back and hug my snout, I should be able to take you into my mouth enough to please you.
And if you are a being that has been wandering for hundreds of thousands of years, having sex with someone that is much, much smaller than you and you're trying to figure that out, I feel like the trying to figure that out part would be this bashful, sweet, uh playful, like, I don't know, what else do you want to do kind of a thing. And that feeling is what I really was aiming for. Like, we're having fun, we're having a good time together. I I love it. I love it. Now, for setting on the snout, I didn't do nearly as much sound design. I switched back to the stereo microphones. I hold on, I gotta like oh, I think a lot of the heavy lifting here was done with the music.
Just like that. Just relax. Feel good.
I did keep my fingers in my mouth as I was voice acting this to make sure that it sounded like there was something in there. But I also tried to sound design it so that you weren't directly in front of her mouth, like you're holding onto her nose and peeking over the bridge of her nose or whatever. The majority of the sound design here comes with when you slip and accidentally fall in and hopefully blow your load all over the roof of her mouth or whatever. I really hope that like, right, spoiling a climax with saying, "Oh my gosh, somebody's watching." I really hope that translated well. I know that some people would be very put on edge by that, but I feel it's resolved in a relaxing, calm way. Like, it's not happening right now. It's not happening right now. It's okay. But when you do fall into her mouth,
Oh dear, someone is watching.
uh, I start with a little bit of fur Foley, very aggressive, letting go and sliding down. It didn't quite get me the sound that I wanted. Then, as soon as that's over, we have tongue slide, tongue slap, and then we have the ambient sounds for, the rest of the time in there, which I tried to move around with how I remembered my mouth moving in this. It was all one very big effort, one harmonious effort to try and make it synchronized, is the word. So I have the two microphones pointing in opposite directions. At this point, they're basically in my mouth. That by itself didn't actually give a lot of mouth sounds, though, surprisingly enough. Hold on. Mute this. I very, very much wanted to do the whole fantasy of, like, the thought I was going for in this moment is like, oh shoot, I hope they're okay. Oh my gosh, they're coming. Oh. And I feel that, like, pseudo laughing along with that, but also trying to stay still and not disturb them. I feel that makes a kind of tension that I really hope it translated in the way that I wanted it to. But you hear, again, it brings back the inside the mouth Foley, or voice effects, which are a lot more pronounced here. I turned down the outside voice effects, but they are still there. And those outside voice effects are being routed into the mouth voice effects. I think. Yeah, right here. So it all culminates into this, like, you can still hear the outside world, but it's tainted by the shape of the mouth around you. Um I have that. When she asks if you're okay, I do some more movement with the Foley to make it sound like my tongue is moving.
Are you okay?
Tongue slide out.
You'd
Then the width of this gets reduced to 0 as you get further away. And then all of a sudden you're out and you're good.
I just couldn't tame my curiosity anymore. Some amateur stargazers on your home planet.
Can anybody tell me
Like
what
explain
stars we're at by the information given in this audio? I'd be. I slipped. I tried to make it a little secret because she wouldn't know what names we use for stars, probably.
Deep Space Observatory.
But
20,000
I did
miles
pick
away.
a specific set of stars.
Just took a picture in which they might be able to make out our silhouettes. Not right now for you, of course, but that light is on its way. Isn't that exciting?
Super exciting. Super exciting, in my opinion. The rest of that is dialogue, and that runs through to the end. I do, in hindsight, wish I wrote a little bit more aftercare, but I was already at 40 minutes. Yeah, after I wrote down this script, and I voiced this much in one sitting. And then I realized, oh shit, I haven't even written the sex part yet. And it's already 14 minutes long. That I put a lot of care into writing the rest of it. I put a lot of care into writing this one in general. So much care, in fact, that I felt it wouldn't have been complete without its own soundtrack. And that is what is here. The space theme for me always comes with very, very large reverb electric guitars and synths. So, hooked up my electric guitar. I bought a freeze reverb pedal a while ago. So you strum once, you hold down the button, and it locks onto whatever resonance is resonancing right now. And it just plays that until you release. So I was using that kind of like a piano pedal, you know? Of course, this music it is supposed to sink into the background. It's supposed to be ambiance. It's not supposed to be the main takeaway, so I added a reverb and an EQ that at some point does get muffled a little bit. Yeah, as soon as the magic kicks in. For the guitar, alongside that pedal, I've given it its own reverbs and drive. So you can kind of hear what this sounds like without. I had to stretch this soundtrack out. This audio is so fucking long. I did my best to keep it fresh with new musical ideas and rearrangements and stuff, but by God was this thing long. I do think that the silences in between each of these tracks were important. Like right here, if we... This moment is super important for me. Ah, this is the first moment. I told you a first moment where she shows weakness before. This is the first moment.
Your ability to say always check it. Alright. I haven't had one see my body so close before. You'll have to.
So here I have set up the reward of, oh, I get to see her body this close. And I want to build up some tension. I have a little bit of rambling before that.
See my body. You'll have to forgive any bashful.
A little bit of explanation.
No. They usually prefer.
And then I really like this line.
Anyways, well, I'm a timeless goddess stalling for time.
I feel that gives the sense of, oh, she has butterflies too. Ooh. Oh my. And it also, I feel, gives a sense of divinity. In a way.
Traveling at relative. And they usually prefer the control.
I don't know.
Anyways,
I'm not sure. But after she drops the blanket, the music fades out in this synth thing that I have here. This note, I think, is monumental for the mood of this music as it trails off.
Anyways, well, I'm a timeless goddess stalling for time.
And then it's still.
I'm just exposed to everything, at least in that direction. What a feeling.
And it's peaceful. And in this moment, she turns to you.
Shining brighter than most of those stars in this moment.
And you're all she can focus on.
I'm glad you like what you see. Keep looking at me. Just like that.
And then you get to go nude, and she's like, "Hey, you wanna join me?"
At least in that
Oh, where is
direction.
that?
You are beautiful. I feel so privileged to get
I
to
made
see
sure to slip as much. What's the word? Kind of like the relief of a deep sigh mixed with laughter. I tried to mix as much joy as I could into this. I tried to mix as much joy as I possibly could, even though this is such a lewd scene, and I think it's possible, and I think it's what I want to do. It's what I want to keep doing. I mean, it seems like you guys liked it. Next musical beats. More chords. Most of this was me freestyling chords on the guitar and then adding in synth later. I was on a time crunch, guys. But I think it works for, being background music. But the big moment, this last piece of music, where we bring back the first motif that you hear in the audio as a bass line, as a really driven bass line.
Lowering yourself into a hot bath. No.
And it's been made clear before this that she intends to please you right now. And it's all on you. It's all on you.
Am I keeping you warm enough? Good. I want to feel you melt in my mouth. Just like that.
I think that the emotion that this is trying to convey is, oh my god, this is happening. I think that's what I was going for. And so once this bass line comes in and I have a little bit of synthage, I also have the guitar track come in with this really, really wide kind of solo. Just as big as I can, as much resonance as I can. And I did freestyle this entire thing. And that starts building up.
Why all of a sudden?
And she points out that you're acting shy, and it's like, oh my, yeah, it's just I'm kind of, this is a lot right now. You bet it's a lot right now.
I guess there's not an easy way to avoid eye contact up here, is there?
And then this motif comes back in, but there is something interesting that happened in the production of this. I don't know when it happened or where, but in this version of the motif, something is like shifted off to the side. And it's like slightly off beat. If I play the drum and it together, you'll see what I mean. Oh, hold on. I gotta make it so you can actually hear it. I gotta... The synth goes a little earlier than the kick does. At least in my ears. It might just be the most minuscule amount. Maybe it's the way that I designed the synth. Maybe it's something like that. But that, mixed with the kick being slightly after, at least for me, it makes me lean into every single beat like I am trying to blow your back out, you know? It's very slow and driven. And of course, by this time, I've already done the rest of the voice acting and part of the sound design. So I know how the story goes, and I'm listening for cues in order to move the mood around with this guitar solo. So I try to make a very, very clear point of no return, if you know what I mean. I feel without it, there's not enough of a build-up or a mental clue for listeners. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of how this turned out. Even if it is only like 5 tracks, I think it sounds pretty damn good. Alongside, the rest of the room ambiance, which I am going to, let me see. I put together, where the fuck is it? Where the fuck is it? Where is space sex music? Oh no, I called it Goddess of Sleep music. Somewhere. Come on, I gotta. It's a project file. I'll just look in here. Sleeping with the Goddess music. That's what it is. Though I think the title of the soundtrack is Space Sex music. I have it condensed in here and mixed up, so it is the main focus this time. I do still leave, obviously, the ambiance that I've made in the background here, but I bring everything to the foreground. I brighten up the guitar, I bring up the volume on pretty much everything. And this kick also doesn't have a reverb. It still has a reverb? It has much less reverb than the other one did. So it's a lot more punchy than the other one is. I deleted some parts that were repeated. I squished some parts together. I tried to keep as much in there as I could, but up here, the way that it sounds upmixed, oh my gosh. I've always wanted to make music with this like ethereal, giant, echoey feeling. And I feel like I've done it. It doesn't sound very wide, and then it comes back. Oh my gosh. Of course, that means when the kick comes in, it's like 4 times more important this time. Is it leading in this one but not in the other one? Oh my god. You know how I was telling you earlier about how the music was like driving forward? I think I was mistaking that for what I was listening to. It's in this project. I don't know why. Something about this project, but I like it. And I want to leave it. In comparison to the last one, I guess you can kind of feel a little bit more leaning forward into the next beat. Because it feels like there are 2 different things competing for dominant rhythm or dominant tempo. Yeah. So there's that pretty much. I think. No, there's one more thing I gotta show you. One more thing that I did. In case you guys think that I get like great takes all the time, I will have you know that. Where is it?
I guess there's not an easy
Kneels
way
and
to
spreads her
look.
knees.
It just
This orgasm was spliced together from a couple takes of orgasms, or made. It was acted out. It was acted out orgasms, but still, it. It's really, really, really hard to act those out and not just like feel like you're, oh my gosh, you'd have to try it to know what I mean. You'd have to try and act one of these out in front of a microphone that you know people are going to listen to. Yeah, it's cut together. I'm probably not showing you the original. I think that's all I had in mind to show you guys, though. I really, really hope that you enjoyed one of or both of these audios. And seriously, your support means so much to me, and I hope to bring you so much more love and joy. And I think that's it. So, yeah. Bye.